Welcome back to the county seat. Our conversation today has been about federal law enforcement on federal lands in conflict with local authority of the county sheriffs, which by definition and our state constitution says is the supreme legal authority on the land. Regardless of who is the owner of the land, you are the supreme regulatory or law enforcement entity within each county. So I wanted to clear up one thing though. For viewers at home, when they were talking about the CFRs, what are CFRs, just so people understand completely?
They're the codes of federal regulations. These are regulations, not federal law. It's regulations that they develop by coming up with an idea. My opinion is it's coming up with an idea, putting it on the Federal Registry, having a comment period. If it's not contested, which nobody knows about, it's made into a regulation, and they then enforce that just like it was a constitutionally or the Congress made congressional law.
Unlike in the state of Utah where the legislature makes the laws,
yeah.
You know, or passes the bill and then it's turned into law.
So isn't there a basic sound constitutional question here about legislation and no ability to recall?
Well, I think that's exactly right. I think the problem we are seeing now in each one of our counties isn't coming from a federal law. It's coming from a federal regulation. And in our case with the BLM, Congress has never, we can find no congressional authority other than the California tortoise habitat or wildlife habitat that Congress has ever given BLM any authority to have rangers. Yet we see rangers in every one of our counties, and it's because the Secretary of Interior decided that they needed to put rangers out there. The Congress didn't. It wasn't given by congressional authority. It was done by regulations and rules from the Secretary of Interior.
Well, let's talk about the broader issue of jurisdiction. I mean, this really boils down to someday there's going to be a conflict between the county sheriff saying this is the law of the land and a federal officer saying no it isn't, this is the law of the land. In fact, that has come to a head in San Juan County, hasn't it, Rick?
It has. Just recently, San Juan County had a road closed near the Canyonlands area in the heart of San Juan County where an actual BLM employee had gone out and closed a road. We've had citizens in the past that have either closed roads or they've done something on BLM property where they've been prosecuted and prosecuted severely for what they've done. Well, when this road was closed, I launched an investigation to see if this individual had violated any state statute. There is statute that says that you cannot go out, you cannot disrupt a county road or a state highway, you can't cut across it, you can't close that road. I launched my investigation. Well, I was contacted by BLM solicitors or their attorneys and said that I don't have the jurisdiction to even start an investigation. And I said, I beg to differ, I'm the sheriff and I will investigate this to see if there's any state statute that was violated. He says, well, we don't think that you do because this is on BLM property. Come to find out, there is no state statute that applies because it was not a county road. It was not an RS 2477 road. It's an open road on the RMP, but it is not a county road, so there is no state statute that applies. We need to get the legislature to pass some laws to be able to enforce these type of things in the future. But I did have jurisdiction to launch this investigation.
Well, that would be tantamount to saying that you can't launch an investigation on me because on my property at my house because I own the property. But that's not how legal authority works.
But Chad, there's a grave difference here. This isn't federal property. This is public lands, and they are land managers. This is public lands. They don't own the land. It's public land. Whereas there is federal land that the federal government does own. And so they, as land managers, are taking it way farther than
they statutorily are supposed to be able to.
Same thing with me when they tried to indict me. They did indict me for taking their road closed signs off of our roads down there. They were going to indict me for the same thing, because and it was exactly the same situation. They were closing our roads, and we unclosed the roads.
Well, let's take that over into the next break, and we'll wrap this up on the county seats. It's been very interesting. We'll probably extend this into an extended conversation. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
In order for there to be adventure, there must first be a land that offers it. In order for there to be discovery, there must first be something undiscovered. It's time you discovered northeastern Utah's dinosaur lands, the trails, water, beauty, and history that have been 65 million years in the making. Take your journey to a destination where adventure is only limited by your imagination. Join us in Uinta County, Undiscovered Utah.
Cedar City, Utah is home of the Tony Award-winning Utah Shakespeare Festival. But did you know that we also offer a different kind of play?
State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration. SITLA manages 3.5 million acres in Utah lands with the express purpose of furthering the education of Utah students while promoting local industry, oil and gas, even residential development, all at the same time. Through the careful use of trust lands, we distributed more than $22 million to Utah schools last year. The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration, building the state's permanent school fund.